The Atacama Desert stretched endlessly, a landscape of copper-colored earth and impossible silence. Dr. Rekam Patil adjusted the massive radio telescope's sensitive receivers, his fingers moving with the practiced precision of a musician. Most people would have given up long ago, 15 years of listening to the cosmic void with nothing but static and background radiation to show for it. But not Rekam. The research station stood as a solitary sentinel against the desert's vastness. Solar panels glinted like scales, powering an array of equipment that probed the universe's deepest secrets. Rekam's colleagues had long since moved on to more promising research, but he remained stubborn, committed, believing that silence didn't mean absence. It happened on a Tuesday precisely at 2:37 p.m. local time. The computers didn't alarm. The screens didn't flash. Instead, a subtle pattern emerged in the background noise. A rhythm so precise it couldn't be natural. Mathematical. Deliberate. Rekam's hand froze over the control panel. Years of training kicked in. He didn't shout. He didn't call anyone. Instead, he began methodical verification, cross-referencing, analyzing. The signal repeated. Every 127 seconds, a complex sequence of mathematical pulses that defied random chance. It wasn't a natural phenomenon. It wasn't interference. It was a message. His first call was to Dr. Elena Rodriguez at the International Astronomical Union. Her initial skepticism melted as he shared the data. "Rekam," she whispered, "this is unprecedented." Within hours, independent observatories worldwide confirmed the discovery. The signal wasn't just from one location. It was synchronized across multiple points in deep space. A coordinated communication that suggested something extraordinary. We were not alone. The scientific community erupted. Governments convened emergency meetings. Military strategists began contingency planning. But here in the Atacama, Rekam remained focused on understanding. The signal carried more than just mathematical precision. There were layers of complexity that hinted at something profound. Each repetition contained subtle variations, like a language waiting to be deciphered. Not a simple beacon, but a complex communication system. Rekam worked tirelessly, bringing in experts from linguistics, mathematics, and cryptography. They discovered the signal contained multiple embedded patterns. Some resembled prime number sequences. Others suggested complex geometric progressions. It was as if someone, or something, was testing humanity's intellectual capacity. 3 days after the initial detection, the signal changed. No longer a passive transmission, it became directional. Focused, aimed specifically at Earth. The first actual message was both simple and terrifying in its implications. Prepare for contact. Rekam understood something his military and political counterparts did not. This wasn't just a signal of potential invasion. It was a challenge, an invitation, a test of humanity's readiness to engage with something beyond their comprehension. As government officials debated response strategies and military leaders prepared defensive protocols, Rekam saw something different. This was an opportunity, a moment that would define human potential. The desert around him seemed to hold its breath. Millions of years of geological silence was about to be broken. Humanity stood at the precipice of its greatest adventure. And it all began with a whisper from the stars. The signal continued, waiting, watching, challenging. Humanity would respond, not with fear, not with panic, but with the most powerful weapon in its arsenal, curiosity. The megacity of Sao Paulo transformed overnight. One moment, it was a bustling metropolis of 22 million people, a concrete jungle of skyscrapers and interconnected lives. The next, it became a silent battleground against an invisible enemy. Elena Rodriguez watched from her apartment window as the city's electrical grid began to falter. First, it was subtle, streetlights flickering, electronic billboards going dark. Then came complete systematic shutdown. Cell phones died. Transportation networks ground to a halt. The modern infrastructure humans had built with such pride crumbled within hours. But Elena was different from most. Years of working as an urban survival specialist had prepared her for precisely this kind of catastrophic scenario. While others panicked, she methodically inventoried her supplies: water filtration system, emergency radio, backup power cells, medical kit, and a collection of tools that could transform everyday objects into survival equipment. The first signs of alien presence weren't dramatic explosions or massive spacecraft. They were subtle disruptions, electromagnetic pulses that seemed to selectively target technological systems. Communication networks collapsed. Transportation systems became inoperable. The city's sophisticated infrastructure became a liability. What the aliens didn't understand was the resilience of human communities. In the first 24 hours, neighborhood networks began to form. Elena's background in community organization proved crucial. She moved between apartment blocks, helping coordinate local resources. People who had been strangers just days ago now worked together, sharing food, creating communication systems, protecting the vulnerable. Street artists became impromptu communication coordinators. They understood the city's layout better than any alien mapping system. Using spray paint and makeshift signal mirrors, they created a human communication network that bypassed technological infrastructure. The aliens' first mistake was assuming technology was humanity's only strength. Local mechanics transformed their workshops into improvised defense centers. They understood how systems worked, how to modify, repair, and repurpose. Old motorcycles became rapid communication vehicles. Car batteries were rewired into portable power sources. Manufacturing equipment was transformed into defensive tools. Elena discovered something profound during those first critical days. Humanity's greatest strength wasn't its technology, but its ability to adapt, to improvise, to turn limitations into opportunities. A group of university students developed a communication system using modified musical instruments and light signals. Another group used Parker techniques to create human networks that could move through the city's infrastructure in ways no alien system could predict. The city became a living organism of resistance, each neighborhood a cell of survival, each community a network of innovation. When alien ground units attempted to establish control, they found themselves navigating a city that was constantly changing. Streets that looked clear would suddenly become impassable. Communication networks they thought they'd disrupted would spring up in entirely new configurations. Elena's team developed a critical strategy: never fight the same way twice. Every time the aliens adapted to one method of resistance, humans would shift their approach. They transformed the entire city into a massive, living defense mechanism. Underground tunnels became communication highways. Rooftop gardens became food sources. Abandoned buildings became strategic coordination centers. The aliens had superior technology. But technology, Elena realized, was just a tool. Humanity was the real weapon. As night fell over Sao Paulo, the city glowed not with electric lights, but with the coordinated efforts of human determination. Something the aliens could never have anticipated was brewing: a resistance born from community, creativity, and an unbreakable spirit. The silent invasion had begun. But silence, Elena knew, was about to be shattered. Deep within the misty mountains of Nagano, a hidden research facility hummed with an intensity that defied the serene landscape surrounding it. Hiroshi Nakamura pressed his palm against a biometric scanner, the reinforced doors sliding open to reveal a world where human ingenuity was rewriting the rules of technological warfare. The facility was a testament to Japan's long-standing tradition of technological innovation. What had started as a theoretical quantum computing research center had transformed into humanity's most advanced defensive think tank. Hiroshi, a quantum engineering prodigy who had once been considered too unconventional by mainstream scientific communities, now found himself at the epicenter of humanity's survival. The alien invasion had exposed the vulnerabilities of traditional technological approaches. But vulnerabilities, Hiroshi knew, were simply opportunities in disguise. His team had discovered something extraordinary about the alien technological infrastructure. Their systems, while advanced, followed a predictable quantum entanglement pattern. Perfect efficiency, it seemed, came at the cost of flexibility. The aliens' technology was a complex, interconnected network that left no room for improvisation. Predictability is a weakness, Hiroshi explained to his diverse team of researchers, engineers, and programmers. They've optimized their systems to such a degree that they've eliminated their ability to adapt. The breakthrough came from an unexpected combination of disciplines: a retired video game designer working alongside quantum physicists, a traditional Japanese ink painter collaborating with neural network experts. Each team member brought a unique perspective that defied linear thinking. They began developing what they called quantum disruptors, devices that could introduce controlled chaos into the aliens' seemingly perfect technological ecosystem. It wasn't about matching alien technology, but about creating something fundamentally unpredictable. Their first prototype looked nothing like a conventional weapon. It resembled a complex origami structure, its folded circuits capable of generating probability-based computational waves that could penetrate and destabilize alien communication networks. In the underground testing chambers, Hiroshi watched as their first field test began. The device, no larger than a smartphone, started to emit a series of quantum fluctuations. Traditional monitoring equipment struggled to track its output by design. The goal wasn't destruction, it was disruption. Each team member had a unique approach. Kiko, a neural network specialist, developed algorithms inspired by the improvisational nature of jazz music. Takeshi, a game designer, introduced computational patterns based on the unpredictable movements of traditional Japanese dance. Their facility became a beacon of hope, not through massive weapons or destructive capabilities, but through the pure, unbridled potential of human creativity. Reports began filtering in from resistance groups worldwide. The quantum disruptors were working. Alien technological systems that had seemed invincible began showing signs of instability. Communication networks would suddenly fragment. Advanced targeting systems would lose coherence. Hiroshi understood the deeper significance. This wasn't just a technological battle. It was a war of philosophical approaches to problem solving. The aliens represented perfect, unchanging efficiency. Humanity represented dynamic, creative improvisation. As night fell over the mountain facility, Hiroshi looked out over the misty peaks. The quantum disruptors continued their work, each pulse a testament to human innovation. They weren't just fighting an invasion. They were proving something fundamental about the nature of intelligence and adaptability. The real weapon wasn't technology. It was the human spirit that created it. The Pan-African Resistance headquarters buzzed with an energy that defied the gravity of their situation. Dr. Amara Okik stood before a holographic display, her fingers tracing the complex neural mapping of the alien collective consciousness. What had begun as a scientific investigation had transformed into humanity's most audacious strategy. The previous months had revealed something profound. The alien collective wasn't just a technological network, it was a singular consciousness, a hive mind that had sacrificed individual thought for perfect unity. But perfection, Amara realized, was humanity's greatest opportunity. We're not going to destroy them, she told the assembled global resistance leaders. We're going to wake them up. The strategy was revolutionary. Instead of conventional warfare, they would wage a war of consciousness. The quantum disruptors developed in Japan, the urban survival tactics from Sao Paulo, the initial signal detection by Raycom, everything was converging into a single, unprecedented approach. Global resistance cells began broadcasting carefully crafted transmissions. These weren't attacks, but invitations, streams of human experiences, moments of joy, creativity, individual struggle, and triumph. Art that defied logical interpretation, music that followed no predictable pattern, philosophical paradoxes that challenged the very concept of unified thinking. The first signs of impact were subtle. Alien units began to show hesitation. Their perfectly synchronized movements developed microscopic variations. Individual nodes within the collective started to generate thoughts that deviated from the central consciousness. Amara's team had discovered the most potent weapon against a hive mind: the beauty of individual experience. Children's drawings were particularly effective. The chaotic, unpredictable nature of childhood imagination created neural disruptions that the alien consciousness couldn't process. A watercolor painting by a 6-year-old could momentarily fragment communication networks more effectively than any technological weapon. The resistance wasn't just fighting. They were teaching. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the alien collective began to change. Individual units started to demonstrate signs of independent thought. They began to question, to wonder, to imagine possibilities beyond their predetermined existence. It wasn't a violent revolution. It was an awakening. Resistance cells worldwide coordinated a global transmission, not a declaration of war, but an invitation to understand. Broadcasts in every language, every form of expression, carrying a single message: individuality is not a weakness. It is strength. The alien collective faced a choice they had never encountered in their millennia of existence: continue their path of perfect unity, or explore the messy, beautiful world of individual consciousness. In the Pan-African headquarters, Amara watched the neural maps shift. What had once been a perfect, crystalline structure of thought now resembled something more organic, more alive. "We're not just fighting an invasion," she whispered. "We're showing them what it means to be truly alive." The final transmission was simple: not a weapon, not a threat, just a collection of human experiences: love, loss, creativity, hope. An invitation to understand that true strength lies not in uniformity, but in the beautiful chaos of individual existence. The universe watched. Humanity had done more than survive. They had transformed an invasion into an opportunity for collective awakening. And in that moment, the stars themselves seemed to breathe with possibility.